Uh-oh. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Conscious Approach video series on the YouTube channel. My name is JV Wins, Dogon SS. We are here back in the building as always. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Thank you for watching. If you happen to catch wind on what we like to do here on this channel, man, if you're watching any of these videos and you haven't already done so, man, make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Let us know what you think about the commentary in these videos, man. We truly enjoy what we do here in our little corner of the internet each and every week, bringing you this good social commentary on this Conscious Approach channel. So certainly appreciate it to everybody who has been subscribing, joining us along for the ride, and thank you in advance to everyone who subscribes to the channel moving forward. I always like to get that little thing out of the way when we, get these videos started. So, without further ado, we'll go ahead and get this week's topic started. The first thing that we are going to do is discuss a gentleman who is near and dear to our hearts, Mr. Tyrese Gibson. Tyrese has been going through a lot over the last several years. Way back in 2017, when we first started making these videos, Tyrese was garnering concern over videos that he was putting out on Instagram, talking about his career in the industry and dysfunctional, toxic relationships that went south, previous relationships, and how the co-parenting setup between him and his previous relationship wasn't going according to plan, and how much distress it was causing him. But it looked like he rebounded from that. He was doing good. He's got the Fast and Furious movies going on. But now Tyrese is back experiencing more personal trials and tribulations. So he was married. In 2017, he got married to a woman named Samantha Lee Gibson. They subsequently got divorced. They have a child together. And now Tyrese is, via the ongoing situation in court, coming to the realization in his eyes that his marriage to this woman was never actually about love. It was just about status and a transaction. He feels so strongly about this that he is making videos publicly speaking on this. And so since he's making videos publicly speaking on this, we will speak on it on this channel.
That's right.
So I'm gonna go ahead and share this. We'll first see the video that Tyrese put out first, and then we'll provide some context, and then of course we'll get into what Tyrese had to say after we get a little background and actually see what it is that he put out.
I left the courtroom during my divorce trial, and I realized that it was never love. It was just a transaction. Wow. So we did a whole marriage and did the whole duration of a child and starting a family just to find out that it was all about money, status, transaction. Imagine me being the only actor in a relationship to then realize that I was in a relationship for 5 years with one of the best actors I've ever met in my life.
Wow.
You spend so much time creating invoices and they
Unbelievable.
So there you go. Now, for anyone who is not aware of their relationship, Tyrese and this woman, Samantha Lee Gibson, were married in February 2017. They have a child together. They announced that they were getting divorced in December 2020. She is a social worker and bartender. She's based in Georgia. And during the whole ordeal, and this is according to the Shade Room, Tyrese appeared at Fulton County Superior Court in Atlanta on Tuesday morning. The court appearance continued an ongoing child support battle with his ex-wife, which mainly began because the singer refused to pay the court order $10,000 per month. As reported by TMZ. In the courtroom, the singer was reportedly held in contempt for his refusal to pay the ordered amount. Additionally, he was ordered to pay his ex-wife $237,944 in back child support and $399,000 for his ex-wife's attorney fees. Furthermore, the singer is reportedly responsible for a $17,000 bill for the court's special master who works to resolve ongoing disputes during cases. According to the outlet, Tyrese is expected to pay a portion of the overall $636,000 amount by May 15th. Obviously, that already passed. Furthermore, the judge also maintained that the singer has indeed been paying child support over the years. However, he has only been paying a reported $2,236 monthly instead of the court-ordered $10,000 monthly. Tyrese has got a pretty hefty bill that he is responsible for paying. A little more information on this woman, Samantha Lee Gibson. She's not exactly in the poorhouse. She makes over 6 figures a year between her bartending career and her career in social work. So she's a 6-figure person in her own right, but nevertheless, Tyrese is on the hook for $636,000 plus ongoing child support in the amount of $10,000 per month. And so, he's going through all of that, and he is now of the belief that their marriage was a transaction and that it was never about a genuine connection, as per the video that he put out publicly. So pretty unfortunate, man. But what do you think about this situation with Tyrese?
This is disgusting, bro. That's what I think. This is gross. The amount of money. Now I don't know what his net worth is, but nobody still wants to come off that kind of money. Clearly, he didn't want to pay it, and that's just unfortunate. But this whole situation bodes true to things that I've said in the past about how marriage is viewed nowadays by opportunistic women. And these opportunists sees the situation in regards to guys that has money. So they look at it as a career move. So, you, a hardworking man, looking to earn yourself a nice salary, have a nice lifestyle off that salary. So you go apply for jobs and, you try to get the highest paying job. Then, after you done kicked it around a little bit, you really don't see, you could probably see there's better opportunities at another job. So then you just sever that. There's a baked in pension once you leave. You don't even have to, you only have to stay there for 6 months to a year. And then after that, you're skating. So they look at this as a business opportunity, like a job, like a career move. And, once they're done with it, once they're bored, once they put in their work, they're ready to leave. And so just like how Tyrese was saying, like, damn, I'm a professional actor. I do this as my job. But this woman did a job on me, basically, because her job is to make it seem like this love is believable. And that's what most of them do when they pull the rug. So I'm glad he's unmuting about this situation. He's speaking about this out loud. I'm glad that, people can weigh on this as we're doing. So, people can actually look at what's going on in their own personal lives. Is this a career move for the person that you're dealing with? Or is this something that's actually genuine? In Tyrese's case, it was not. So what about you, bro? How do you feel about this situation, man? You think that Tyrese is being a cheapskate here? Or do you think that Do you think this is overblown by our inflated justice system?
$4 million, according to celebritynetworth.com. Tyrese's net worth, $4 million.
It can't be.
So now, I don't know how credible that source is. It did rank highly on Google. Google tends to not rank things that are not credible high when you search it. So I'm prone to believe that that is accurate information. So you can take that for what it's worth. There might be more credible sources out there that might have a different number.
You probably just ain't got it.
Yeah. So the thing with this situation is Tyrese, to me, has not publicly exhibited characteristics that are akin to somebody like Tiger Woods. When we look at Tiger Woods and what he's been through with women, we kind of sit back and we say, okay, this guy was a child star. He didn't really have a normal life, right? This is what we've talked about in some of the previous videos that we did with Tiger. So he never really developed adequate social skills, never really grew up in a normal type of environment as a child and a young person. Whereas a man, you kind of, not even just as a man, but as a human being, you learn how to detect certain red flags in some of the people that you're interested in. And therefore, you can protect yourself from being extracted for resources because there's a radar detection system in you that enables you to pick up on certain things that you can look at and say, he or she does this, or he or she is about this, or he or she has said this. Probably not a good idea for me to get in bed with this person via a marriage or even having a child with them. To my knowledge, Tyrese doesn't have any of those deficiencies the way Tiger Woods has those deficiencies. So this really, to me, is kind of baffling. And it makes me really become even more just sort of apathetic towards the idea that as a man, you can reach the point where you're generationally wealthy and still view marriage as something that is worth going for. It's sad. And I'll take no pleasure in saying that because I'm looking at this situation and I'm looking at her and I'm saying, okay, she wasn't an Instagram model. She wasn't a cocktail waitress. She wasn't she's a bartender.
I was about to say, man, she was a bartender, bro.
She was a bartender, right? She doesn't do OnlyFans. She's not a social media influencer. She's not posing pics of her body on Instagram every day for a career or for a check, right? She's not doing anything like that. She's not doing, did I mention OnlyFans? She's not doing OnlyFans. She's just she's a social worker and a mixologist is what they like to say. and despite, right. And to be reasonable, I'm not in their household, so I don't know all of the circumstances that contributed to the breakdown of the relationship. So I'm not trying to necessarily sit up here and blame the whole thing on her because I don't know. But I'm still looking at it. I'm saying she's a social worker. She's educated. And she's a mixologist. She's not necessarily a thought, at least not publicly. And yet this still happened to this guy. And they have the one child and now he's on the hook for all of this money. And I'm saying, man, like at a certain point, it really must just not make sense if you become a person who has achieved at that level to do this thing. Maybe cohabitation is where you need to stop. Stop short of marriage and just don't go past the cohabitation level. Live with somebody, maybe have a kid with them, try to start a family that way. But the legal contract of marriage, maybe that's where the buck stops. Because this guy has to now pay $10,000 a month in child support. And I don't understand how $10,000 a month in child support makes sense for a woman who herself is an entrepreneur and makes $100,000 or more a year. That math to me isn't adding up. But be that as it may, I kind of think that it's an unfortunate situation. And I don't have an answer to it. It's just seeming more and more nonsensical to be a guy in that position and go the marriage route. As non-traditional and indifferent as that may sound, that really is what it's seeming like more and more, unfortunately. And to people like Tyrese or these other guys out here, man, you high value dudes. And mind you, I use the term high value to describe a man who makes a lot of money, not necessarily high value in character or judgment or decision making or maturity. Just high value in terms of income.
High earners.
Yes, there you go. Okay, so let me just say that instead. High earners. Like, I don't know what y'all got. I don't know what y'all need to do. And I myself aspire to be someone who's a high earner.
Damn right.
And and so it's like, maybe stick to just trying to meet women in small towns. Don't go in metro areas where it's more likely than not, from a statistical standpoint, that you're going to run into people who have this extremely liberal, left-wing, hyper-liberal mentality when it comes to dating and relationships. Maybe you're more prone to find people who are more traditional minded in small towns. Not to say that you're going to completely escaping it by going that route, but maybe you give yourself a better statistical probability to not run into that muck if you just stick to middle America, small towns, outskirts, small communities. Again, that's practical advice, and I don't even know if it applies. I'm literally playing darts at this point, and I'm shooting darts at a dartboard blindfolded because I don't know. But the divorce rates, the declining marriage rates, all of these statistics, and you can look them up for yourself. They're becoming more and more alarming by the year. I still hold out hope, and I am still optimistic. I just think at a certain point, it just takes a certain level of maturity, and you really have to approach this type of thing with some tact. And that is what is becoming in more and more short supply, is good decision making and tact on all sides, for men and women, because guys choose the wrong partners all the time and then cry, woe is me. And then women do the same thing. They have a very, very pointed, specific way that they go about choosing men, and the outcome is always what it is, and then they complain about quality of men. Really, it's the quality of your decision making that is the result, that is resulting in your continued undesired relationship status and situations. But yeah, I'm just shooting shit. I'm throwing shit at a wall, and I'm hoping it sticks. I'm at the point now where maybe you stay away from the metro areas, stay away from metropolitan areas, large cities, stick to small towns, small communities, middle America, the heartland, as they like to say. I don't know what the result is, but I find this very unfortunate because, like I said, Tyrese doesn't have child star syndrome like Tiger Woods. And this woman doesn't necessarily exhibit all of the characteristics that I would have, said, well, does she do this or this? Those represent red flags. She's not doing porn. She's not doing OnlyFans. She's not an Instagram model. She doesn't do any of those things. So, I don't know. She's not a hip hop chick. She's not none of that. She ain't a stripper. She's not none of that stuff. She's just this, and this still happened. So, for people who are on the fences thinking that marriage is a dying institution, I reside on the side of someone who still says it's not dying. This certainly does not provide enough confidence or evidence for someone to not think that. Yeah. So it sucks, man. I just hope that Tyrese is able to figure out a way to finagle his way out of having to pay all this. Because just based on the knowledge, just based on the information that I have before me, doing the numbers, crunching things up, seeing what she makes, seeing what he has, to me, that amount doesn't make sense. Even if you want to suggest that he is due for some back pay, fine. But $10,000 a month into perpetuity until this kid is 18 for someone who is making six figures a year, to me, doesn't make sense. So I hope that he is able to figure out a way to not have to deal with that. But it just sucks. It does. And you know, it's sad to see the disillusionment of any marriage, of course, but to see it, dissolve into this kind of situation where this guy is making Instagram live clips and saying that he felt bamboozled. He thought that his relationship was genuine and it turned out to be a transaction. And, we already speak on how marriage and relationships today, largely depending on who you are and your environment and your cultural context, has become transactional, which in and of itself is unfortunate. And it certainly doesn't apply to everybody, but a good portion of modern society, unfortunately. You mix all of this up into a pot and this is what you get. So I just hope he comes out of it relatively well. He's not going to come out of it unscathed, but I hope he comes out of it as unscathed as he possibly can, given what he's fighting against.
Well, to speak on the unscathed, she got him for his pockets, and she got him for the emotional robbery that she did for him as well. So moving forward, hopefully Mr. Gibson will understand that somebody like this, invading his life and stealing his emotional stuff, like he has to be able to put all that aside and move forward to hell, because money's not really important anyway. So this vagabond came and tried to just steal. So those people already have it coming to him. So he can rest easy knowing that this vagabond came and carpetbagger came and came and stole his stuff.
She ran a blitzkrieg on him.
Yeah, man. So
she ran a blitzkrieg on him, man. She just ran the plane right into him. No regard.
So those people can have that. They those people got to sleep with themselves at night. So yeah, man, the money is just a material thing. It don't really mean nothing. It sucks that somebody would actually do that to him, but at the same time, bruh, you can move on. And when it comes to what was the other thing you said? Cohabitation. Bro, they'll get you for cohabitation too. You can't even live with a chick for X amount of period of time because they're going to claim lifestyle differences.
Yeah.
So you can't even do the cohabitation thing if you're trying to do that thing like that though. So nah, man, the game is rigged, is what it is. And if a man can't that's why I was using the job analogy, because we can understand, everybody can understand that. Now, women like this will claim that they're not doing it intentionally. I call BS on that. But let's say that they're not doing it intentionally. They still look at it as a come up and a lifestyle change and a difference. So yes, she's making 6 figures, but she's got to work awful hard to get that. So why not get some man that financially dominates her and has a bag that where if she has a child by him and if she gets divorced, she can get some pretty good checks out of this. So why not sign up for that? This is a career move. So just like at work where, they ask you on the application, hey, do you take any stationery home? If a fight happened at work, what would you do? If you saw a coworker doing this, what would you do? I'll snitch my ass off. That's what I'll do. Oh, really? Yeah. I mean, if he's taking home stationery, no way. That's what I'm saying. So these women look at men like they're bosses that they can have sex with and then take his money later. So the same type of thing of where, hey man, I'm about to take this 15 and that 15 turn into a 20 or 30, because whatever, they do the same thing with you when they don't pick up their phone to do something weird or sketchy. And they just do whatever. So they don't really, the whole thing is that because times have changed. And I alluded to this, I don't know, maybe last time, I don't know. But we have to look at marriage different because of what these type of women are looking for. They're looking for security, period. And so whatever they can do, if this woman can do this again, get married, ride that for a little bit and get divorced and get a pension from that guy, she would do it. Or have a child from that person, which is a pension, and get child support from that person. People do this. And this is seen as checks, guaranteed checks, like royalty, like you dropped the album and it's coming in the mail every month. Why not sign up for that? That's how they look at this. So of course they're going to tell you everything you want to hear. Of course she's going to have, relations with you every way you want to have it. Oh, you want to bring a girl in? I'm okay with that. So long as you drop seed in me. Pause. So the whole thing is that's what their whole thing is. Their whole thing is looking at it as a job opportunity. So yeah, she's making 6 figures, but now she's got a damn good check out of this. So it's all finesse, bro. So when you're dealing with a woman who's just looking for security, then you're seen as a come up. And so how do you decide and decipher whether or not the person you dealing with is after a check? And bruh, you ain't even gotta make a bag. There's everyday guys getting divorced. There's everyday guys going through these craps in court and getting taxed by the state. And by the way, the state collects money off that child support as well. So why reduce the rate? They getting a nice little percentage out of that themselves. So no, Tyrese Gibson, pay that 10 racks. We saw all the Fast movies. He was even in space in one of those, I heard. So nah, man, you got checks and they coming in. We need a piece of it. So, hey, man, I'm not doom and gloom when it comes to marriage, although it may sound like it. But at the same time, hey, man, we got to read the tea leaves and see where the direction of people's mentalities are going. And if you're dealing with somebody who can't think for themselves and they think like how the machines told them to think, then yeah, you're most likely going to get got voluntarily or involuntarily, because 6, 7 years down the line, 8, 9, 10 years down the line, just like anybody that signed up for a job and told their boss or their employer that, hey, I plan on staying here so long as y'all keep paying me this good. But over time, they start complaining about how they're not getting treated right at work, how they're not getting paid enough for this or not getting enough for that. Not all the while, excluding all the benefits that they get from the job, dental, this, that, vacation hours, this and that, roll over this. But nope, I'm not getting treated right at work. Nope, I'm not getting recognized at work. And then they'll just jump ship just so they can get recognized at another location where they're getting probably paid less, where they get less benefits. Hey, man, this is the way of the world. So if they want to go out there and try to figure out what's going on, ride the carousel and do this and this and that, have at it. They're just signing up for a life of misery, man. So that's why I told Mr. Gibson at the beginning of my thing is that, hey, these people get what they paid for in the long run. So that mentality gets people nowhere. And if she keeps riding that train, which most likely she will, it does derail at some point. So let her have it, brother. So
yeah, the only thing, this to me is unfortunately par for the course. But what's starting to freak me out is like the evolution of the flex, because it's like, it's like watching what there's a show that I watched. I forget what the show was. It's a zombie show. It wasn't Walking Dead though. It was either a show or a movie. And the people, obviously they're in the zompocalypse, so they're fighting off the zombies, and they started to like discover that zombies were evolving. Like they weren't just lumbering anymore. Like they could do things like run and jump. So it's a whole new ball game now, because at first you could just shoot zombies because they were just and they were moving like right. 2 miles. They were moving at a snail's pace. Then all of a sudden you got zombies who can run and jump and shoot guns. Now we got a serious problem. You have to defend? You have to develop a whole new strategy to defend against that. And what I'm seeing with this relationship extraction dynamic, this epidemic that's going on, is the evolution of the flex. I used to be confident in being able to say, hey, man, this is kind of on you. You knew she was a stripper. You knew she did porn. You knew she did OnlyFans. You knew that she was an Instagram model. You knew she wrote a book talking about all of the men that in the entertainment and the professional sports industries that she had sex with. You already had this knowledge. She told you who she was and you chose not to believe her. So, bro, this is egg on your face. Understand that there are billions of women in the world. You don't have to be with the ones who exhibit the red flags. Go with the ones who don't exhibit the red flags and give yourself a better chance to obtain what it is that you claim to seek, which is an actual viable partner with good qualities. I used to be able to rest on those laurels, and it seems as though I'm no longer able to rest on those laurels because you have women like this allegedly, as well as, Ebony K. Williams, who has a law, she's a PhD law person, and she's basically no different than the women who exhibit the red flags outright.
Yeah.
And so the camouflage on the flex is really becoming supplanted. And so at this point, you really have to go back to the drawing board and reevaluate how you read the tea leaves. As of now, I don't have a plan on that. I need to think about that because there's always a weakness in any strategy. You just have to discover what the new weakness is because the old weakness no longer applies. They've evolved. The moment that you have well-to-do women from two-parent households getting masters and MBAs and PhDs, and they're walking around well-spoken with professional attire on, and they're not stripping anymore, they're not doing porn anymore, and they're not doing all of the things that you could always look at and say, I'll use that for a good time, but otherwise stay away and not take it seriously. That is still present, but you're losing the ability with each passing year, from what I can tell, to be able to employ that kind of a strategy because the flex is evolving to the point now they are exhibiting all of the characteristics that you used to be able to look towards to say that's something that is wholesome and of substance. And apparently not so much. Now, how prevalent that is and how widespread it is, I'm not exactly sure. This is completely anecdotal. I don't have any statistical data to suggest how prevalent that is. But I feel confident enough to say that the flex is becoming more sophisticated with each passing year, I would say, to the point where you're no longer going to be able to use some of those basic tenets of red flags to guard yourself, because now they've infiltrated law offices, medical facilities, they've infiltrated accounting firms, they've infiltrated the tech space, they've infiltrated it. And I'm speaking on this like it's some sci-fi movie, like it's Agent Smith in the Matrix, when Agent Smith figured out a way to actually infiltrate the real world and get out of the Matrix.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that.
Yeah.
Where it's like, bro, you're gonna have to try and be Neo and see the code.
There you go. Exactly. Very good. Yeah.
You're gonna have to be able to see the code because it's no longer, you're not in the Matrix anymore. They figured out a way to get into the system so that they can be in those places. And it's interesting to see for sure. Again, I don't want to cast any aspersions on her personally. I don't know her, but I do know what I've read from credible sources, and I do know what these numbers are. And to me, these things aren't adding up, and it's unfortunate, and it is seeming like it's rigged, and I don't like it. So I hope that he comes out of this unscathed. But I really do have a modicum of sympathy for him, because I think he was looking at her and saying, oh man, she knows how to make a good drink, but otherwise she's a social worker. She's a well-educated, anonymous social worker from New Jersey. How much of a thought can she be? And this is where it got him. So it sucks, but yeah, it just requires a second look at the strategy for detecting red flags is how I see it.
But just imagine, bro. Just imagine if you knew that after every job that you got, that once you either got fired or decide to quit, you're just gonna get unemployment, You're just going to get checks cut to you to keep you paying your rent, to keep up your lifestyle from the job that you just had. And, they come in. So what's the incentive? What's the incentive to really stay once it gets hot?
Being a good, loyal person.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But most people aren't.
And that's what I find very sad.
And and to tap into your Matrix analogy, which was spot on. But that also speaks to, so who are you talking to? Now, if anybody out there watched The Matrix, much like myself, I watched it I don't know how many times, especially the first one. All right. Which are you talking to somebody that's unplugged? Or are you talking to that woman in a red dress? And if you're talking to that woman in a red dress, you're talking to Agent Smith. You are talking to the Matrix. And the Matrix is going to run you through the ringer. You know what else is attached to the Matrix? This money. An emotional attachment to that money. Feeling like you can't come off that money. That's why the church, not that I'm a religious man, not to make this religious, but that's why the church tell you to pay your tithes. It's a way to come off something that you're very arrogant and egotistical about. You have to give up some of that in order to live appropriately. So with all of this stuff that's attached to this Matrix system, all right, part of your ego and pride goes with it. That's all a part of this construct. So what's the main takeaway here? That he helped bring in a new person to this Matrix, but he helped bring in a new person. He's had a lot of enriching and important things with his child or daughter or son or whatever. So there's a lot of good that does come out of this madness, even though this is unfortunate. But like I said, man, these are the signs of the time. So are you dealing with the woman in the red dress, or are you dealing with somebody that is unplugged? And if she's not unplugged, she'll speak binary, 10110. And like you said, man, you got to understand the code. And you can say, hey, man, how do you feel about blah, blah, blah? Just anything. And then 10001 110. And it's like, oh, man, this person's on autopilot. This person's speaking like every liberal outlet or whatever they done heard. So, by the way, man, the little bit of TV that I do get a chance to watch, that stuff is indoctrination madness. I mean, it is sickening. I can't even listen to 5 minutes of that stuff without rebuttaling or getting irritated. And it's watched unabated. So you got to make sure you know who you're dealing with. Mr. Gibson didn't know who he was dealing with. So that's why he got by the Matrix. So yeah, man, there's no incentive to stay. Recalibrate. You got to know who you're dealing with, and know your personnel. And you can't sign everybody to your team. So
yeah, that is true. It just looks like the flex is evolving. So until good-natured, wholesome, traditional-minded people figure out the new hack, I don't know. Be very careful. Be very, very careful. So, like I said, I hope that he comes out of this as unscathed as he can. He's still going to have a pound of flesh. Well, he's been paying. So, it's just that there's a greater extraction attempt that is being afforded his way. So I hope that works out in his favor as much as it possibly can. But otherwise, I think it's an unfortunate situation. And it just kind of makes the advent of, good relationships on a good foundation seem more and more like a unicorn, which is unfortunate. It sucks. It does. And this trickles down to the general population. It's not just about celebrities and rich people.
Nope.
It just kind of feels like it's more and more of a mainstay. So we will just have to go back to the drawing board and recalibrate our radar detection system. And that goes for men and women. That's everybody. Because as things evolve, you have to evolve your strategy. So good luck to Tyrese, man. This sucks. I don't really know how much I can hold him to account for because it just kind of seemed like he had good intentions. I don't know what he contributed to the dissolving of the marriage. Again, I don't know any of that kind of stuff, but I just know $10K a month, $636,000 seems a bit unreasonable, given all of the information that I have about this thing. So I'm feeling for you, man. I hope Tyrese pulls through.
Yeah, and like you said, bro, I don't know this woman, but to hell with her. So go ahead, Tyrese, man. It's all good, bro.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to say that, but I did mean to say that.